Hi everybody, Joel from RC Max UK here. Hope you're doing very well. Now this video has been on the back burner for a long time. I did buy, quite a while ago, a couple of videos on the channel, a HOBAO Hyper ST, which was nitro. I do occasionally run nitro actually. I know there's not much nitro on the channel, but I do have a couple of nitro Mugans, which I hope to run soon. But anyway, back to this car. So this is a HOBAO Hyper ST. I've done a brushless conversion very, very cheaply. And the idea was, I was looking at maybe getting a brushless car, something like a EREVO or maybe an Arrma Kraton. So I thought, hold on, I've got this HOBAO Hyper ST, so I'll do some modifications to it and try making it brushless and see what it's like, see if it's worth doing. And the idea was to do it cheaply. So we got a Poseidon motor there that I'm pointing at. I've pointed out a couple of things already. The Hobby Wing SC8 ESC with a button at the back there, stuck down. You got a battery tray, which is a low C8E battery tray, and a Traxxas transmitter box there from a Stampede on the front. Just showing you the very badly done holes that I've done underneath that I had to drill. I did buy a motor mount. You can get a motor mount for these, and I did buy a motor mount from eBay, £12. As I said, it was a cheap, can I do this on the cheap build, and it didn't fit. So I had to bodge it to fit, is the truth. So that is what I did. So yeah, Traxxas transmitter box, as you can see there. And then we got the Poseidon, which is a 2200 kV. The standard center diff sitting there with the top plate from the nitro. And it's the Pro version, the ST Pro version with the aluminium shock towers and braces and so on and things like that. So that's basically the size of it. The car was £100 when I got it as a nitro, and I did do a video as a nitro, and it did work as a nitro, but it wasn't the most reliable. I did try to persevere with it, tidied it up and all that kind of thing, but it seemed a bit of a pain, so I gave up on it. What I need to do, talking of nitro, is get a new nitro motor, as I've never ever had a new nitro motor. I've only ever bought them used, and I think when you buy something used, you don't know what the settings are, you don't know if it's been run in, you don't know how hard it's run or how old it is, and all that kind of thing. So I've got to get a new nitro engine at some point to try a nitro properly. So the other thing on this car is we got the Pro line Badlands, the 2.8s, which are the truggy, almost truggy size, slightly smaller, I suppose. But what you'd put on a truggy if it was a race truggy and you wanted a bit of a basher tyre. They're probably the best basher tyres you can get for a truggy if you're just getting a tyre set, unless you go for something like a set from another car, an RTR car, like the Arrma Kraton, for example. So 2200 kV motor. I think the biggest pinion I could get on there was a 14 tooth from what I remember with a standard spur gear. Because this motor mount, to be fair, it's cheap and nasty, and there's hardly any maneuverability for pinions, sadly. Standard body, a bit of reinforcement with shoe glue and drywall tape, the usual. I don't know who the RC Nut is, but it says rcnut.com on here, so I don't know who that is. Who's the RC Nut? But maybe this was his car at one time. And the idea was, is it worth doing something like this rather than getting a £650 EREVO 2 or an Arrma Kraton? Now, I know there's an Arrma Kraton V4 out now, and I'm thinking of buying it to try an Arrma. I've not had a single Arrma yet. I've avoided it. I've been waiting in the wings since the MT4 days when I had my Thunder Tiger MT4 G3, which was a very cheap and capable electric 8-scale basher monster truck. Of course, they discontinued that, and really the Arrma stuff has taken over as far as price-wise, because the Traxxas stuff is just crazy money. So this is the first time I'm using it with a few jumps. Back at Jubilee Park, which we've now been banned from, which is a park in Enfield. And I'm just trying to get used to it here. As usual, whenever I start a run, I crash constantly while I'm just getting used to the car. So I do a few tumbles here, but it kind of, I suppose, proves an element of durability. Nothing broke on the car at all during this run, by the way, so that's good. What did happen in the end is the gear mesh came loose, so that's why I ended up stopping. But yeah, so here's a bit of footage of the car and how it runs. Backflips, of course, 6S, this is 2,200 kV Poseidon motor. Backflips are going to be pretty easy, although the gearing I would probably up a gear slightly maybe to give it a bit more pace. It was a bit wet, but yeah, so here's the footage of the run. What do you think? Is it worth doing something like this, or is it worth just getting an EREVO or a Kraton? Now, this cost, I would say, only £100 the car, but the electronics in this, well, it's got a Savox 1256 servo, which on its own are about £50. So I think you're talking about realistically ESC's 100, motor near 100, servo 50. So you're looking at, plus your lipos are what, 50, so that's what, 100, 200, 250, 300 of electronics, including the batteries, maybe slightly more, maybe slightly less. Car was 100, so that's 400. You can get a brand new Kraton now for I think 450. So I suppose money wise, I don't really have a leg to stand on with this project, but I thought I'd give it a try anyway. It was a lot of fun. It's fun to use, although again, I think at the moment with most of my mates and the people I run with using petrol stuff, electric stuff somehow doesn't have that certain thing. But of course, you can't do any of these backflips and stuff with a petrol car, can you? So it definitely has its place for me, electric. I know a lot of people don't like it, and a lot of people who watch my channel don't like electric, it seems, but I quite like it. It's definitely has a place for me anyway. So yeah, let me know. Do you think it's worth doing something like this, a brushless conversion on an older platform? You got to, of course, consider things like parts availability and stuff like that, but the HOBAO stuff is generally pretty easy to get hold of. So yeah, is it worth it? Is it any good? What do you think of this car? Is it worth doing something like this, or just buy a new RTR? Let me know what you think in the comments. That's the video, guys. Couple of backflips coming on, and then my pinion comes loose. So hope you enjoyed it. A little bit more footage for you here. I'll catch you in the next video. See ya. Looks like the pinion. Yeah. Come loose.